Okay guys, today we're going to do a rewire on a sword prize fighters foil, electric foil. This little beauty here. You can see I've taken off the insulation from the top, so we're sort of ready to go. Okay, I've got my rewire kit ready there. I always buy them sort of semi in bulk, and then I split them into packs. So I've got springs, screws, wire, tip, everything ready to go. So the main thing to remember is obviously you've got to strip your foil down, keep yourself organised. I've got a nice little magnetic tray here. So first thing you're going to do is take off the hex nut at the back to remove the grip. Okay, keep everything nice and safe. Okay, that goes in the tray, can't go anywhere, and the grip comes off. Quite simple. Okay, next process after this is to remove the wiring into the 2-pin socket. You can make that easier by taking out the pad. Okay, then this can just lift off or lift clear to give yourself room to work. Okay, and it's just a matter then of undoing this. You'll need a screwdriver, but I've loosened it already. Just undo it, not completely. Okay, and you can just pull this wire out quite easily, thusly. Okay, that wire's now clear, so everything can slide off now. Pull that wire through and slide the connection off. Again, there's no loose bits, just that whole piece there can go into there, into the metal tray. Take the guard off, put the guard down there. Okay, so we've now essentially got a wired blade, everything's still in place, okay, and everything else is safe. Okay, still going, that's okay. So I've taken that off now, the insulations are gone, insulation is there. Okay, everything's safe, we're ready to start with the taking the tip away. We're going to take the tip away, then we're going to remove the old wire and clean the blade. Okay, so I like these, they're quite useful. Jewelers, quite inexpensive, it's the smallest one you need. Okay, and you're going to be taking out the little screws in the side. Hang on, get that. Okay, you can see there on either side there's a little screw you need to remove, and that'll let this tip pop out. It's on a spring, so let's try and do that. Okay, coming in. Might need your glasses, don't take them all the way out. Okay, just need to loosen them so the top can come out. It's tricky when you're old. Okay, you might see it just pop. There we are. Oh, just shot it across the room. Ideal. Right, I've left the screws in. Ideally, if you can leave the screws in, that's great. I need to find the top now. Okay, so I found a tiny spring. Shot across the room. That's my tiny spring. Got that safely in my magnetic, and the tip is still good. It's a fairly new tip, this. Okay, but it didn't work for very long. Maybe a bad rewire last time, but anyway, we're going to investigate that. So you're now just left with the barrel with the 2 screws. You need 2 very small spanners for this, which I haven't got, so this is going to look a bit rudimentary. I need to use pliers and adjustable. So you can grip with one hand, put the adjustable on. You just need to crack it. Obviously this is going to break the wire that's already there. Hang on. Okay, I've relocated now to the workmate. Very useful to have, because I was struggling a bit with that, so I should be able to get this off now without too much hassle. But obviously this breaks the old wire. You can never reuse a wire. There we are. Okay, I've got that spinning now. I'll just take it off. There we are. That's our barrel off. Again, the old pieces of the wire will come out. They are rubbish. Put them to one side. And you want to make sure with your little screwdriver that there's no bits left. Okay, you need to poke it in, and you'll poke out the plastic insert that came with the wire. Give it a tap. And it's been a bit reluctant, but you've got to make sure if you're going to use a barrel, and the same barrel, you have to make sure that all the old bits are out. You can't be putting new bits on old. Okay, so there we go. You can see now it's completely clear. Again, it's a new barrel, so I am going to reuse this barrel. The screws are still in place, so everything's good to go. It's pointless using a new one. If there's nothing much to go wrong with that, to be fair. So I'm going to put that to one side, and now we're left with just the blade. You can see there the wire just sticking out the top. Okay, and then the wire sticking out the bottom. If you try and take this out without heating it up, you will find you'll snap it and it will become a nightmare. So this is the time to get the hairdryer out. Okay, so trusty hairdryer, travel hairdryer is fine. I always like to start at the tang end. Okay, you need to get it nice and warm, and be patient. Be patient, okay? Here we go. So try it, warm it. If it's still not coming out, you need to warm it more. So that's still doesn't want to come out. It should come out fairly easily. Just try it. Yeah, don't be tempted to rush it. Otherwise you've got a lot of work on your hands. You see it's coming out slowly. Okay. And it gets easier as the whole blade starts to heat up. See, it's just slowly lifting, but don't force it. You can tell when it doesn't want to come anymore. Blade's getting quite hot now. So I'm slowly taking this out. I'll get back to you when I'm a bit further on. But main thing, do not rush it, because you're making it seems like you'll get it out and you'll make more work for yourself in the long run. This is coming out okay now. A bit. I'm going to have to keep heating. That's it. It's got to a point there that doesn't want to come anymore. So I'm going to put a bit more heat on it. So we're about halfway now, okay, and the rest of this blade here is quite hot. I can hold it, but only just. That's just the heat coming from the hairdryer. But now we're getting onto cold blade, so I'm going to carry on heating, and I'll come back to you. So you can see we're almost there now. Okay, we've got just that little bit to do to get up to the end. Okay, so I'm going to carry on. The top tip here, temptation is you think, oh, it's coming really nicely, give it a good tuck and you snap it. For every couple of inches you get out, you're saving yourself about 20 minutes work if you snap it. So try not to snap it. Okay, we're just coming up to the end now. I've managed to get it all out. And that should come out. Yeah, got the whole thing out in one. That's really good. That's a good result. Now we just got to clean up the channel. So okay, now I've got, it's hot today, it's about 42 degrees. I could have just left this on the terrace. So we've got it, you can't really see it, but all the wire is out. What's left in the channel now is basically dross and rubbish. So I'm going to reach into my kit. If I can. Oh. Trusty hacksaw blade. Okay, you're just going to run that up and down the channel. Start whatever end you want. You're going to try and take out all that rubbish. Okay, so you've got a nice clean channel for the new wire to go in. It shouldn't take too long, but make sure whatever you do, you get it all out. Okay, you can feel it on the blade. Use half decent blade, otherwise you get through too many. Okay, just a medium blade, don't need a coarse blade. You can feel it just going into the channel. Obviously you don't want to saw through it. You just keep doing that. You do it all the way down, and you can look and you'll see a nice clean channel. So that's what you got to do, just work your way down. Okay, I'll come back to you in a minute. Sandy grab a vice or a workmate like I've got, so I haven't got a man shed. Fortunately my wife is very sympathetic, so I'll do it in the lounge. I'm just working my way up and down this so I can feel it nice and smooth, and I can see it's nice and shiny in there. And you just move the blade up as you move down. Again, you can start either end, doesn't really matter. And you just need to, I think I used too much glue on this last while on this one, personally. There was a lot in there. There shouldn't be, and there's just enough to hold it in really. Just working your way down like that. Okay. Okay, I'm happy with that now. I've cleaned that all up. It's got a nice, clean, shiny channel ready to go. I've now got the new wire out of its bag. You can see that's a little bit I took out of the barrel. Okay, so that should be attached. That's a new one. Again, top tip, don't rush this. Straighten it out gently as you can. Okay, you don't want to put any kinks in it, or in fact damage the insulation. Okay, just gently, don't force it. Okay, then you can gently run it over the top of a screwdriver, very gently, just to turn it into a nice and straight. Okay, work your way down. That'll take all the little kinks out, because this has got to lie nicely in the channel. Okay, that's it. There we are. Okay, the end bit's going to be cut off anyway, so that doesn't matter so much, but we've got essentially a nice smooth top. Okay, so we're going to be starting from the top. We're going to be putting the new wire into the barrel, threading that in. So I'll show you how we do that. We're going to lock that in there. Okay, I'll get myself organised. I'll come back. Okay, here we are. Here's my tip. Barrel, which is nice and clean. I've checked there's nothing left in there. You're going to thread this end, the end without the connector on, into your barrel, thusly, and just pull it down gently. You don't have to pull it all the way through, just pull it in gently, gently. So you've got a little bit sticking out like that. Okay, don't pull it all the way in. Okay, then you're going to lay it into your channel. Okay, and you're going to slowly screw the barrel on. At the same time, you're checking that this is loose, it's not catching. Okay, you're tightening it up. Okay, so you've gone as far as you can, still make sure it's not catching. Okay, so it's still nice and smooth, so it's in the channel, it's not being obstructed. Okay, and I've done that as much as I can with my hands. Okay, so I'm just going to get I do need to get a proper spanner for this. I'm just going to Okay, if you've got, I haven't got any Loctite, a little bit of Loctite wouldn't hurt on this one. Okay. Again, check it's not pinching. Okay, it shouldn't do, the channel's well big enough. Okay, that's pretty well tight now. You can see that still slides nicely. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now we're just going to pull that down gently into the barrel. Again, you can use your jeweler's screwdriver just to make sure. Lower that down a tad. Okay, just to make sure that the little cap sits nicely square, and it has. It's gone down there nicely. It's sitting in there square. So we've now got that in. Okay. So what we're going to do now is put the wire into the groove, into the blood channel of the weapon. Okay. It's fairly straightforward. Okay. What you're going to need for this, as with every good armourer, is your chain. These are pre-measured. This will put a bend in. This will put a bend in the foil. Okay, and allow you to put your wire in, because obviously if you put your wire in when the foil's straight, first heat you get is going to snap the wire, so you put it in with a bend on. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to do that now. Hang on. Okay, so you need to run that wire into the groove, just not tight, so it sits nicely in the groove. And this is a good chance to check that you've cleaned properly. It should sit just below. Okay, you're running that down into the groove. This is not the final fitting, so it doesn't matter. You just want to get your rough length, okay, which we've got. Okay, it's in there. Okay, then I'm gonna put my cap on one end. Okay, you can't do any damage with this cap. Okay, then you're just going to bend the bottom, bend it like a bow into there, thusly. Okay, and then you can reset your wire. Okay, so you're running it down again, all the way down, all the way down into the groove. So it's just moderately tight, just hand tight, because you don't want to damage it. Okay, you can see now that's in there. Okay, and just to hold it in place, we'll take a couple of turns. Okay, so that wire now is in the channel all the way up there. Yep. So now the glue in. Okay, make sure that wire's sitting in nicely. Okay, tighten up on the chain. I'm not happy with that. Just going to readjust it a little bit. It's just sticking out a bit. Hang on. Okay, I've changed that a bit now. So I've put it in hand tight, so it's nicely in that groove. Okay, it's nicely in that groove. Okay, and now I'm going to put the bend on. So it's hand tight, it's not tight. So this should take it nicely to sit in the channel. I wasn't happy with the way it sat before. So again, tight. Yeah, now it's sitting much better. It's nice. It's got to be below flush. So now we're ready to start gluing. Okay. Super glue I use, more or less anyone will do. This one, that one, and you're just going to trickle it and use capillary action. It's quite difficult to see this, okay, but I'm just going to trickle it down the groove, okay, and just let it make its way down there. You can see it working its way down if you look carefully. Again, don't rush it. It just needs to capillary action its way all the way down. Okay, this takes a little while, but I'll keep running down. Put a blob on, let it run down. Okay, just stand by, I'll carry on. So, okay, so as you can see, I've got down this far. I'm just putting a blob of glue on. Just let it run down. Let it run down, let it run down. Hopefully you can see that. And that's all you do. You do that all the way down. Don't over glue. Okay, it goes down quite a long way. Just put a blob in. Let it run down of its own. It will go down the channel on its own. Okay, probably about 6 inches at a time, I'd say. Okay, so we're just going to carry on. We're not going right to the end. I'll come back to you when we're at the end. Okay, so you can see I'm at the end now. So we don't want to glue all the way down because there's going to be insulation there. So I'm just going to put a final little blob there. Okay. That's enough. Okay, leave that last little bit because that insulation we took off is going to go back on there. So I'm happy with that now. We're going to leave that to dry for 15 minutes. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes. It's glued in place. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Too late to think about it. So now you can just gently undo the end. Obviously you're not going to need all of this. Okay. What you need to do now is get the insulation on. Remember the bit of insulation we took off? Now we're only going to need about this much. So I can snip off a little bit. Again, there's a bit of a trick to getting this insulation. Probably end up snipping a bit more as well. Right. Okay. You're going to need your trusty lighter I have here. Okay, and we're just going to burn the end of it. Okay, burn that insulation off. Just a little bit to start with. Okay, so you need to be able to slide this on. Okay, let's hope you can see this. It's not the best video I've ever made. But there you are. Okay, glasses time again. Okay. Can you see the end? I'm just going to feed that. Need it to go on fairly smooth. Because if it starts roughing up the insulation, that's a cloth insulation on this wire. You don't want it to be roughing it up because you'll never get it through. Okay, hopefully it'll pop out the other end shortly. Again, don't rush it. If you bend it or get a kink, you have to start again. Make sure your insulation is nice and goes on a millimetre at a time. Once it comes out the other end, you're home and dry. There we are, I've got it at the other end. There we are. I can slide that down now. Okay. And we're sliding it into that channel. Okay. Good job it's red. I'm going to slide it down and I'll come back to you. There we are. Okay. It just sits nicely in that channel there, and it's about flush. So that's the insulation, because obviously you've got the guard and everything to go on. Okay, so we're happy with that. Alright. Next phase. Okay, we're not going to put our tip on yet. We're going to put everything else on, then put our tip on last. Okay, so I'll come back to you in a second. Okay. So we've got that, that's nice clean. We've got a nice clean bare end copper wire there. We'll get our guard on. Remember, our guard has the channel in the side, so that goes the same way. Okay. Obviously put it on the right way around, which helps. Okay, in there, like that. Okay, so you can't see. Okay, Okay, that is now through. Okay, and it's coming out that little channel that's in the side of the guard, you can see. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, it's much better if you can clamp it. Okay, that's all good. We have our connector. Again, everything through there. That's why the insulation's there, to stop it from touching any of this metal. There shouldn't be anything there to do. Okay, that's all good to go. Up through the centre of the connector. Slide the connector down. Okay, and that's you. You know, it's just typical that door's in the way. Got a silhouette. Just stand by one. Okay, so now we can connect this up as we did before. It's quite simple, really. You know you're going to be screwing from the top, okay, and you'll need a spanner on the bottom. So you take your piece of wire, you wrap it around there a few times, okay, and then you just tighten it up. Okay. You get it hand tight. You can then slide the spanner on the other end. Assume I've got the right spanner, which I haven't. Okay. You just put your spanner on the bottom and tighten it up. It's nice and tight now. In place. You can pull any excess back through. Okay, everything's in place as it should be. You can now put your guard grip back on again. Okay, that's in there. Put your hand on, remember which way it's coming out, because that's got a groove as well, remember. That's to stop it pinching the wire roughly. Okay, that goes on nicely there. Get your nut. Remember, you always just hold the handle when you're tightening these up. Nice and tight. We're almost there now. Okay, got our barrel. The last thing to do is put the tip and the spring in, both of which we have. Tip, spring, pop the spring in, pop the tip in, and here we just need to push it down. There's a groove that sits into, and we're going to tighten these screws. Old eyes. That's one. Okay. It's not coming out. Check both sides again. You don't want these popping out. Okay. That essentially is that. It should now test. Okay, obviously to test the foil, we all know how to do that now. Okay, you're taking your tester, putting your tester onto ohms at the bottom, onto the 200. Okay, you should read 1. Connect to one terminal, connect to the other terminal. Okay, and you'll get a reading. It's difficult to do this. Okay, this is looking good as a fix. And then what you need is a third pair of hands, darling. Okay, we've got a reading. Ella's going to press the tip in. Okay. Hold it. Can you press and hold? There you go. Release. Press. Release. So that's a successful rewire. That foil is now working, which is great. So that essentially is it. 2 seconds and we'll finish it off. Okay, so just to finish it off, now I'm happy it works. I'm going to tape our end so we get more hits. Okay, you take 15 centimeters max, lay it along your foil, brush it down again, don't rush it, just work your way around, slowly working the hockey tape onto the blade. Okay, this will mean you won't get flat hits so much. You're more likely to get hits with it taped, good hits. And you're allowed to 15 centimeters, remember, okay, all the way around like that. You need to do this every couple of weeks really, if you fence like Alexa does. Okay, and then finally one last little bit, just round the tip. Don't go over the top of the barrel, just round the tip and smooth it out. That's it. And there you are. A rewired working foil. Yes.